Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're ready to begin our meeting. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're ready to begin our meeting. I've never used this thing. Maybe I ought to use it.
Strike the gavel. No.
Good evening, and welcome to our meeting of the Richmond City Board of Commissioners. And happy to see all of you here tonight. We're going to begin, before we have a roll call, with the invocation, which will be given tonight by Wayne Robinson, who is a member of our Board of Adjustments, and appreciate he's also a veteran. We've asked him to give the invocation tonight. Wayne, if you'd come, please.
Now, I ain't no preacher, so y'all don't get this thing going.
So don't get that rumor started.
So I will be obedient. We bow your heads. Most gracious and Heavenly Father, first we want to thank you for life, health, and strength. Just want to thank you for another day, a day that we see and a day we'll never see again. Just want to thank you for tomorrow and that it will be just like it is today. Then we want to say thank you, Lord, for the mayor and the commissioners and anything they have to do tonight to please this city. Lord, you know that there is trouble somewhere. There's trouble in the city of Richmond, but God is always in charge, and he'll make everything all right. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the blessed Holy Ghost, in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Wayne. The pledge of the flag tonight will be led by one of our new commissioners, Mindy Goble.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Brewer.
Here.
Commissioner Cole.
Here.
Commissioner Goble.
Here.
Commissioner Newby.
Here.
Mayor Bly.
Here, thank you. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the regular meeting held January 24, our 6 p.m. meeting. We had a chance to look at those. We have a motion, please, to adopt them as presented.
I move.
Commissioner Newby,
Second.
Commissioner Goble. Any questions, comments, discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Cole.
Yes.
Commissioner Goble.
Yes.
Commissioner Newby.
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer.
Yes.
Mayor Bly.
Yes, thank you. Ordinance 23-04, an ordinance of the City of Richmond, Kentucky, annexing property in the city boundaries and assigning zone classification for 118.65 acres of land at Tates Creek Road and Goggins Lane. This is a second reading, so we will vote tonight. Madam Clerk, please.
Whereas New Idea Construction and Homes, LLC, on behalf of Arlington Farm, the owner of the property described below, has consented to a voluntary annexation into the city limits. And whereas the property in question is contiguous to the city's boundaries and is in urban in character and suitable for further development for urban purposes. And whereas the Richmond Planning and Zoning Commission on December 21st, 2022, conducted a public hearing so as to be able to make a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners as to the appropriate zoning classification to be assigned to the property should it be annexed. And whereas at the conclusion of the public hearing, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted to adopt the findings of facts attached to this ordinance here, incorporated in full, and recommended that the property, if annexed, be assigned the zoning classification for the total 118.65 acres, R1C single family and B3 highway business. And whereas the Board of Commissioners finds it to be in the public interest that the property in question be annexed into the city boundaries and given R1C and B3 zoning classification. Now therefore be it ordained as follows. In accordance with the provisions of Chapter 81A of the Kentucky Revised Statutes, the City of Richmond, Kentucky does hereby express its intentions to annex into the city limits those certain tracts of property more particularly described as below. The property is hereby annexed into the city boundaries in accordance with the findings of facts and recommendation of the Richmond Planning and Zoning which the findings of facts of that board does adopt its findings of facts, and the property shall be and hereby is zoned total of 118.65 acres as R1C, single family, and B3, highway business. The Department of Planning and Zoning and the GIS Department shall make the appropriate changes to the city's official map, and the city clerk shall forward the ordinance together with other necessary information and documentation to the appropriate local and state authorities. This ordinance shall be effective immediately upon adoption following second reading and publication in accordance with the provisions of applicable Kentucky law.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. For the reading of ordinance 23-04, may we have a motion, please, to bring to the floor for discussion and approval?
So moved.
Commissioner Brewer,
Second.
Commissioner Newby, is there any comment, question, discussion?
Well,
Yes, sir.
mine's to Mr. Short. I appreciate you coming up here. You can, or you don't need it, it doesn't matter. I just want to let you know that, I appreciate you coming up and explaining things. You didn't send an attorney to speak for you. You didn't send an engineer, and you didn't send somebody with some dog and pony horse show about a traffic study. And when you first brought it, you had apartments and duplexes in the mix. And you asked the commission that if we were to take those out, would we accept it? And sir, you kept your word. So therefore, I personally will keep mine to you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any further discussion, comment?
We voted it in before. We just have a minor glitch. Let's move on.
There being no further discussion, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Goble?
Yes.
Commissioner Newby?
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Mayor Blythe?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you all for your time and attention.
Yes, Clerk. Ordinance 23-05, an ordinance of the City of Richmond, Kentucky, changing the zoning classification for property on Berea Road located within the city limits. This is again a second reading. We will vote tonight. Mr. Attorney, please.
Whereas Spangler Apartments LLC and Richmond Development Company LLC owners have filed with the Richmond Planning and Zoning Commission an application for a zoning map amendment at Berea Road for 100 acres of a 230-acre tract on Berea Road in Richmond, Kentucky. And whereas the property is currently zoned agriculture and requesting change to single-family residential small lot R1C 44.8 acres and two-family duplex R2 41 acres and multifamily apartments R3 21.3 acres. And whereas the Planning and Zoning Commission conducted a public hearing on the requested zone change on August 17th and December 21st, and in the course of which it received evidence and testimonies from persons in favor of and opposed to the respected zone changes. Whereas at the conclusion of the public hearings, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted to recommend the zone change be granted. And whereas the Planning and Zoning Commission at its meeting adopted written findings of fact as to the zone change, and the issue is now before the Board of Commissioners for final determination. And whereas the Board of Commissioners believes it to be in the public interest that it adopts the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission in accordance with the findings of fact adopted by that body. And now, therefore, be it ordained that the Board of Commissioners does hereby adopt the recommendation of the Richmond Planning and Zoning Commission as to the requested zone change. The property in question, located in Richmond, Madison County, Kentucky, as to which the zone change shall apply, is Berea Road, parcel 0069-0020, found in Deed Book 818, page 786. The Director of Planning and Zoning shall make the appropriate changes to the official map of the City of Richmond, Kentucky. This ordinance shall be effective immediately upon its enactment following second reading and publication in accordance with the requirements of applicable Kentucky law.
Thank you, sir. That's ordinance, let me get these straight here. That's ordinance 23-05. May we have a motion, please, to bring to the floor for discussion and approval as we will vote tonight.
So moved.
Commissioner Brewer,
Second.
Commissioner Newby, is there any discussion?
Well, I'll say something. Everyone knows by now how I feel about additional apartments and duplexes overloading the city that we have quite a bit of already. This is in a location where it's not near as crowded as the other locations we're putting them in. And also, for a fact, the roads are being widened and lanes are being put in out there as we speak. So I will say that about this ordinance.
Any other discussion? Comment, question? There being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Newby?
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Mayor Blythe?
Yes, thank you. Ordinance 23-06. Ordinance of the City of Richmond, Kentucky, changing the zoning classification for property located at 291 Tates Creek Avenue within the city limits. This is again a second reading. We will vote tonight. Madam Clerk, please.
Whereas Arlington Farm, Richmond Annex, for the Dorman, Lawrence, and Crutchfield owners have filed with the Richmond Planning and Zoning Commission an application for a zoning map amendment at 291 Tates Creek Avenue, tracts 1 through 4, total of 100.81 acres in Richmond, Kentucky. And whereas the property is currently zoned, that's R. I think it's R1A.
R1A.
Thank you.
Currently R1A.
I didn't change it on the ordinance. Requesting single-family residential lots, R1A, tract 3, 54.66 acres, and two-family duplex R2, tract 2, 15.15 acres, and multifamily apartments R3, tract 1, 26.65 acres, and tract 4, 4.33 acres. And whereas the Planning and Zoning Commission conducted a public hearing on the requested zone change on December 21st, in the course of which it received evidence and testimony of persons in favor of and opposed to the requested zone change. And whereas at the conclusion of the public hearing, the Planning and Zoning voted to recommend that the zone change be granted. And whereas the Planning and Zoning Commission at its meeting adopted written findings of facts as to the zone change, and the issue is now before the Board of Commissioners for final determination. And whereas the Board of Commissioners believes it to be in the public interest that it adopts the recommendations of the Planning and Zoning Commission in accordance with the findings of facts adopted by that body. Now therefore be ordained that the Board of Commissioners does hereby adopt the recommendation of the Richmond Planning and Zoning Commission as to the requested zone change. The property in question located in Richmond, Madison County, Kentucky, as to which the zone change shall apply for. The Board of Commissioners does hereby adopt the written facts adopted by the Planning and Zoning Commission as its findings of facts. The findings of the zoning of the said property shall be and hereby is changed from R1C to requesting single-family residential large lot, R1A, tract 3, 54.66 acres. Two-family duplexes, R2, tract 2, 15.15 acres, and multifamily apartments, R3, tract 1, which is 26.65 acres, and tract 4 of 4.33 acres. The Director of Planning and Zoning shall make the appropriate changes to the official map for the City of Richmond, Kentucky. This ordinance shall become effective immediately and for enactment following second reading and publication in accordance with the requirements of applicable Kentucky law.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That's ordinance 23-06. May we have a motion, please, to bring to the floor for discussion and approval?
So moved.
Commissioner Brewer,
Second.
Commissioner Goble. Is there any discussion, comment, question? There being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Goble?
Yes.
Commissioner Newby?
No.
Commissioner Brewer?
Yes.
Mayor Blythe?
Yes. Thank you. Ordinance 23-07. For potential conflict of interest, our attorney left the room. Ordinance 23-07, ordinance of the City of Richmond, Kentucky, amending ordinance 13-14 and 15-02 for the purpose of establishing a place and time for the regular meetings of the Board of Commissioners. This too is a second reading. We will vote tonight. Madam Clerk, please.
Whereas applicable Kentucky law requires that the city by ordinance establish a place and time of regular meetings of the Board of Commissioners. Now therefore, for it be ordained that the Board of Commissioners shall have its regular meetings in accordance with the following schedule. On the second Tuesday of each month shall be a meeting at 6 p.m. On the fourth Tuesday of each month, there shall be a meeting at 6 p.m. The regular meeting shall take place in the Commission Chambers in the first floor of Richmond City Hall, 239 West Main Street. On Wednesday, the week between the two regular scheduled meetings, there shall be a meeting at 3 p.m., the workshop meeting. The workshop meeting shall take place in the conference room of the first floor in Richmond City Hall, 239 West Main Street. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect immediately upon passage after second reading and publication in accordance with the requirements of applicable Kentucky law.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That's ordinance 23-07. May we have a motion, please, bring to the floor for discussion and approval.
So moved.
Commissioner Cole,
Second.
Commissioner Gold. Is there any discussion? Let me make just one comment, Madam Clerk, just so that we
Yes, sir.
have the understanding. That, let's see. Oh. The workshop meeting, it notes here in the conference room on the floor, so it didn't want to be picky, but oftentimes we have that meeting upstairs in the training center, just so nobody will be misled. Conference room is what we'd ordinarily use, but
Yes.
sometimes if it's large enough, it requires the technology, we go upstairs to the training center for that workshop meeting. Further discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Goebel,
Yes.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Mayor Blight.
Yes, thank you. Ordinance 23-08, an ordinance of the City of Richmond amending the ARPA, American Rescue Plan, budget for the City of Richmond for the fiscal year 2023, estimating revenues and resources and appropriating funds for the operations of city government. This too is a second reading. In the absence of the city manager, finance director, Sharon Kane will make a presentation of that budget amendment.
An ordinance of the City of Richmond amending the ARPA budget for the City of Richmond for the fiscal year 2023, estimating revenues and resources and appropriating funds for the operations of city government. Whereas a budget proposal has been prepared and delivered to the City Commission, and whereas the City Commission has reviewed the amended budget proposal and necessary modifications have been completed as recommended. Now therefore be it ordained by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners that the amended ARPA fund budget for the fiscal year beginning July the 1st, 2022 and ending June the 30th, 2023 is hereby presented as follows. Our resources available is the estimated fund balance carried forth of $8,150,000. Our appropriations are $4,830,038 with an estimated balance as of 6/30/23 of $3,319,962. The 2023 amended fiscal year ARPA budget is hereby approved as submitted. The amounts budgeted above are hereby appropriated to the accounts indicated for the 2023 fiscal year budget. The city clerk is hereby directed to publish a copy of the fiscal year 2023 ARPA budget ordinance in accordance with KRS 424.240. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon second reading and adoption and publication by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Sharon. That's ordinance 23-08. May we have a motion, please, to bring to the floor for discussion and approval?
So moved.
Commissioner Brewer,
Second.
Commissioner Newby. Sharon, just a quick question. Would you note for us, please, what the difference is that we're actually amending this time?
Yes, we added $52,827,000 to the Armory project for a change order, and then we added the downtown lighting project for $900,000.
Thank you. Any question, comment? There being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Goble,
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you. Ordinance 23-09, an ordinance of the City of Richmond, Kentucky, adding a new section to the City Development Ordinance to require the installation of cluster mailboxes within new developments in the city. This is a first reading. Attorney, please.
Whereas the City of Richmond has heretofore adopted a comprehensive development ordinance which details the design and infrastructure requirements applicable to developments within the city. And whereas the United States Postal Service has now set a mandated requirement that all new developments going forward must have cluster box unit-style mailboxes. And whereas the Planning and Zoning Commission adopted these mandated regulations on January 18th, 2023, and now going before the Board of Commissioners for final approval. Now therefore be it ordained that there is hereby created a new section within the city's development ordinance to appear within Chapter 518 of the ordinance, same as to read as follows. 518, installation of cluster mailboxes. Purpose. The purpose of this chapter is to provide standards for cluster-style mailboxes in order to comply with regulations of the United States Postal Service, ensuring public safety. Cluster box units, the style of mailboxes meeting the specifications of the United States Postal Service. Visibility. All CBU's cluster box units shall not obstruct the free and clear vision of motorists and shall not impede the sight triangles. Locations. CBUs serving housing developments situated on any public street or roadway shall be located between the sidewalk and the curb or behind the sidewalk with the respective easement. No driveway or street access shall be constructed within 10 feet of the CBU and must be a minimum of 5 feet away from fire hydrants and above-ground utility infrastructure. CBUs shall not be installed within a cul-de-sac and shall not be located within 100 feet of an intersection. And what follows are rules to be approved for single-family developments, multifamily developments, commercial use. And the city clerk shall cause the ordinance to be published in accordance with the applicable Kentucky laws immediately upon its enactment following second reading. In summary, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. That's the reading of ordinance 23-09. May we have a motion, please, bring to the floor for discussion and approval.
So moved.
Commissioner Goble,
Second.
Commissioner Newby, is there any discussion?
I think it's a very good idea. I wonder who came up with the name cluster, though. That doesn't sound very organized nor attractive.
Only you. Does that, but seriously, will that go in effect for the property that we've annexed into the city and the developments that are?
It
Now.
would, yes, sir. Now, moving forward, if this is voted in, it would be immediately in effect, and any of the properties that were just before you, before they had a development plan approved and construction documents, they would have to comply with this.
So if they put in a development plan in, they have to go back and change that?
Well,
Once this ordinance is,
once this
passed.
ordinance is effective, but
does that
Yes.
mean they have to go back through planning and zoning?
no,
Okay.
sir, they just have to work with the codes department.
Okay.
So keep the cards and letters coming to USPS, right? Yeah.
That's correct.
Don't call Lisa. All right. Any other discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please.
That's a first reading.
That's
Mayor.
first reading.
So we just
I'm
need a
sorry.
motion and a
That's what
second.
we don't
Got
vote
that.
tonight. Sorry about that.
We're good.
Order 23-16, an order of the City of Richmond reappointing members to the Richmond Industrial Development Corporation. Madam Clerk, please.
Whereas the terms of all 11 board members have expired on February 12th from the Richmond Industrial Development Corporation, and whereas these members would like to continue their commitment and service, now therefore be it ordered by the Richmond City Board of Commissioners the following to be reappointed to the Richmond Industrial Development Corporation for the term of 3 years effective February 12th, 2023 and expiring 2026. John McPherson, Robbie Robertson, Bob Lilly, Jeff Still, Tim Hout, Tim Gross, Randy Perry, Jake Campbell. There are 3 vacancies still. David Stipes, Executive Director of the Richmond Industrial Development Corporation, will continue to serve as a non-voting member to the board. This order shall be in full force and effect upon reading and adoption by the Richmond City Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That's Order 23-16. May we have a motion, please, bring to the floor for discussion and approval.
So moved.
Mr. Cole,
Second.
Commissioner Newby, is there any discussion? The board sometimes offers us some options for replacements of board members, and we'll take care of those expeditiously. Further discussion? None? Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Goble,
Yes.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you. Order 23-17, an order of the City of Richmond, Kentucky, approving an interlocal agreement with the Madison County Fiscal Court and the city, and authorizing the mayor to execute same on behalf of the city. In place of the city manager, you reading? All right, Mr. Attorney, please.
Whereas the City of Richmond and Madison County Fiscal Court proposes to enter into an interlocal agreement in regards to allocating and developing and promoting a men's rehabilitation center in Richmond, Madison County, Kentucky. And whereas the Board of Commissioners finds it to be in the public interest that this collaboration proceed, the terms of which shall be included as here set forth in full, the interlocal agreement attached to this order and incorporated herein. Now, therefore, be it ordered that the attached Madison County City of Richmond Joint Rehabilitation Center Interlocal Cooperation Agreement be and hereby is adopted and approved by the board. The mayor is authorized to execute the agreement and with his signature to make the agreement one binding upon the parties.
Thank you, sir. That's Order 23-17. May we have a motion, please, to bring to the floor for discussion and approval?
So moved.
Commissioner Goble,
Second.
Oh, that's fine.
Sorry.
Commissioner Cole. Is there any discussion? I will note that the city manager did appear before the fiscal court a couple of weeks ago, the Madison County Fiscal Court, to discuss the hope, I'll put it that way, of a men's rehabilitation center in Richmond, Madison County, and getting the cooperation of the fiscal court, of course, is good for all. So we're happy that we're moving forward in this way in a cooperative fashion to provide something that has been requested for a long time, obviously has been much needed for quite a long time. So we're looking forward to being able to move forward with that. Further discussion?
Just makes me happy.
Doesn't it, Mindy?
It makes me very happy.
Yes, yes. Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Goble,
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you. Order 23-18, an order of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Richmond, Kentucky, directing that the Director of Finance would open a certain city bank account. Madam Clerk, please.
Whereas the city is a recipient of various funds which are required to be segregated from other city funds, and whereas the city's Director of Finance wishes to open and maintain a separate bank account for such monies. Now therefore be it ordered by the Board of Commissioners that the Director of Finance is hereby authorized to open and maintain the following bank account: the City of Richmond opioid settlement account money at Stockyard Bank in Richmond, Kentucky. This order shall be in full force and effect upon reading and adoption by the Richmond City Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That's Order 23-18. May we have a motion, please? Bring to the floor for discussion and approval.
I move.
Commissioner Newby,
Second.
Commissioner Brewer. For the sake of full disclosure, let me just mention, I am a minor shareholder, Stockyards, the operative being minor. Any further discussion? What do you call it? A blip on the radar or something. There being no discussion, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Goble,
Yes.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you. Order 23-19, the Board of Commissioners of the City of Richmond, Kentucky, authorizing the city's purchase of a fire alarm system for Madison Hall of Justice building. Mr. Attorney, please.
Whereas the city is the owner of and is leased to the Administrative Office of the Courts, the AOC, the facility known as the Madison Hall of Justice, a facility which houses Madison County District Court and administrative offices associated with that court. Whereas the fire alarm system has been seriously damaged as the result of a freezing weather on Sunday, December 25th, 2022. And whereas the city manager has certified the existence of an emergency as to the necessity to immediately begin effective repairs and has filed a copy of that certificate with the city's Director of Finance, all as is required by the provisions of Kentucky Revised Statutes, Section 424.260, subsection 4. And whereas the Board of Commissioners likewise believes and finds that an emergency exists within the meaning of KRS 424.260 and Section 2, subsection 7 of the city's procurement code. And whereas Cintas is familiar with the facility and currently provides the services to the city manager has provided a proposal to make repairs quickly enough to eliminate further damage to the property. And now, therefore, it is ordered that the emergency necessary repairs to the AOC facility fire alarm system shall be completed without the necessity of advertising and awarding contracts to Cintas of Corbin, Kentucky, in the amount of $34,465 out of a non-departmental district court fund. The mayor shall be and hereby is authorized immediately to make the repairs necessary, binding the city to financial obligation.
Thank you, sir. That's Order 23-19. May we have, please, a motion to bring to the floor for discussion and approval?
So moved.
Commissioner Goble,
Second.
Commissioner Brewer. Is there any discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Goble,
Yes.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you. Order 23-20, order of the City of Richmond adopting a new job description for the Tourism Department. Madam Clerk, please.
Whereas the City of Richmond has adopted job descriptions for the city employees, and whereas after review, it has been determined that this position needs to be adopted for better city services. Now therefore be it ordered by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners that the following job description and pay grade for the City of Richmond is hereby adopted. It will actually go under Battlefield Department Curator, pay grade 4. The attached job description shall be made a part of the city's job descriptions and incorporated into the departmental structure. This order shall be in full force and effect upon reading and adoption by the Richmond City Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This is Order 23-20. May we have a motion, please, bring to the floor for discussion and approval?
I move.
Commissioner Newby,
Second.
Commissioner Brewer. Is there any discussion? Question, comment? There being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Goble,
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you. Order 23-21, an order of the City of Richmond awarding a bid for the fireworks display show at Lake Reba. Madam Clerk, please.
Whereas the city wishes to contract out services for the July 4th fireworks display show at Lake Reba Park property, and whereas bid specs were advertised and one bid was submitted, and whereas the bid has been reviewed and a recommendation has been made to accept the bid. Now therefore be it ordered by the Richmond City Board of Commissioners that the bid for the fireworks display on July 4th, 2023 at the Lake Reba Park is awarded to Pyro Shows, Inc. of Tennessee for the proposal is set at $25,000. The bid is attached to the order. The mayor is hereby authorized to sign the contract with the said company. The order shall be in full force and effect upon reading and adoption by the Richmond City Board of
Thank
Commissioners.
you, Madam Clerk. That's Order 23-21. May we have a motion, please, bring to the floor for discussion and approval?
I move.
Commissioner Newby,
Second.
Commissioner Cole. Is there any discussion? 4th of July will be here before you know it. No discussion? Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Brewer?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Goble?
Yes.
Commissioner Newby?
Yes.
Mayor Blythe?
Yes, thank you. Order 23-22, order of the City of Richmond authorizing a Phase 1 environmental study. Mr. Attorney, please.
Whereas the city has entered into a purchase option contract for a mega site development by Order 23-10, which obligated the city to perform a full Phase 1 environmental study up to $150,000. And whereas bid specs were advertised and one bid was submitted, and whereas the bid has been reviewed and a recommendation has been made to accept the bid, now therefore be it ordered that the city shall accept the bid of Setco PPLC of Lexington, Kentucky for a Phase 1 environmental study at the contract price of $144,500. The purchase shall be paid in full from the current budget fiscal year 23 out of the Capital Projects Industrial Tract Land Option Account for $100,000 and the contingency fund account for the remaining balance of the $44,500. The mayor is hereby authorized to execute on behalf of the city such documents as required to complete the said transaction. This order shall be in full force and effect upon reading and adoption by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners.
That's Order 23-22. Thank you, sir. May we have a motion, please?
So moved.
For Commissioner Cole, Commissioner Gold. Any discussion, comment, question? This positions us well to be able to move forward with inviting or recruiting additional industry necessary that the city itself be somewhat in control of potential locations. And this positions us with the Cabinet for Economic Development in Frankfurt and gets us on the governor's lists and that kind of thing to market the city of Richmond. So we're excited. This move was necessary in order for us to do that kind of thing. Any further? Yay.
Yes.
Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Goble?
Yes.
Commissioner Newby?
Yay.
Commissioner Brewer?
Yes.
Mayor Blythe? I've already checked
Yay.
this.
So I can't take it back now, right? Order 23-23, an order of the City of Richmond promoting an employee in the fire department. Madam Clerk, please.
Whereas there is a qualified employee in the fire department that has completed the required testing and training for the position of firefighter 2, and whereas the fire chief has made a recommendation for these promotions. Now therefore be it ordered by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners that the following fire department employee is hereby promoted to firefighter 2, effective payroll date February 24th, at the pay rate based on the fiscal year 22 through 23 fire scale pay grade 3. Dylan Rogers. Hire date is January 18th, 2022. The order shall be in full force and effect upon reading and adoption by the Richmond City Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That's Order 23-23. May we have a motion, please, bring to the floor for discussion and approval.
I move.
Commissioner Newby,
Second.
Commissioner Brewer, is there any discussion? Thank you, Chief. Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Goble,
Yes.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you. Order 23-24, an order of the City of Richmond reappointing members to the Parks Board.
Whereas the
Madam Clerk,
terms
please.
of Dan McBride and Emmett Igo on the Parks Board have expired on February 15th, and whereas these citizens would like to continue serving and has made a commitment to attend all meetings. Now therefore be it ordered by the Richmond City Board of Commissioners that Dan McBride and Emmett Igo are hereby reappointed to the Richmond Park Board for the term of 4 years, effective February 15th, 2023, and expiring 2027. This order shall be in full force and effect upon reading and adoption by the Richmond City Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's see here. That's order 23-24. Maybe a motion, please, bring it before for discussion and approval.
I move.
Mr. Newby,
Second.
Commissioner Cole. Any discussion?
I just want to say, I've attended quite a few of these meetings,
Yes.
and both these members are very active and productive over the years.
Yes.
So I think it's a good thing that they're wanting to continue their service.
Yes, sir. Certainly, as we're going through some of the improvements and additions that we are, yeah, the continuity is going to be crucial. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Goble,
Yes.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you. Let's see, we will have an executive session, right?
Yes.
Public comments period. The procedure here is, unless one is listed, Madam Clerk, is there someone who has officially requested to be on the agenda to be, all right, be considered? There's a limit of 5 minutes per person. I will reserve always the privilege to limit discussion if it is the same, with no intent to exclude anyone from the conversation, but when we get conversation's direction, that will be sufficient. Is there someone who wishes? Also, please come to the podium. Give your name to the clerk, please, for the record. I saw 2 hands. 3. All righty. Yeah, no, come on. Process.
Pass these out first.
Thank you, sir.
I thought you would like to know what happened at the last Architectural Review Board meeting. My wife passed away on February the 1st. And a week before that, she says, "Do not let them get away with it. Enough's enough. We are losing our city. Let's stop it." Many property, and I read this at the last meeting, many properties on Lancaster Avenue have been altered. When I was appointed to the board, it took me 2 months to find out that I lived in an historic area. Every time I painted or put up new windows, I called the city and was told not to worry. A property owner who wanted to put a fence and was afraid somebody was going to put up a chain link fence called the city just a few years ago, and they said, "Oh, there's no problem, just go ahead." There is a reason we have a gravel drive and a lean-to on an historic house. Now, Lancaster Avenue is heavily traveled, so codes should see something that's happening. At our last board member of Architectural Review meeting, code said we need to answer to them. They do not want us going before the commission. I'm a naughty boy right now. Also, that they asked about letting the property owners know on Lancaster Avenue that they need a certificate of appropriateness to do work on the exterior of the properties. The reply was, we would have to notify all adjacent streets, and that would take too long and too much work. I called the Lexington Architectural Review Board, who said, "You're already in an historic area. You don't need to notify adjacent streets." I also called the lawyer, the Bruce Simpson, who's referred to me by former Mayor Jim Gray, and I asked him who answers to whom. He said the Codes Department works for the Board of Architectural Review, who works for the commissions and the mayor. That's the way it's supposed to work. I was appointed to the board in June and had no idea I was in the historic area until 2 months later. In the August meeting, Codes said that they would notify all property owners on Lancaster Avenue. We also wanted to expand the historic district of West Main Street, which has been on the National Historic District going back to the 1970s. We also had meetings canceled by the Codes Department, so both in September and October and December were canceled. Poof. I read my statement regarding notification on Lancaster Avenue property to the owners concerning historic destination. Codes was not happy and looked, if looks could kill, I would be dead. There was much discussion. It could wait until West Main Street became part of a historic district. Well, that could take months, if not years. I said that could take months, if not only years, but we need, in the last meeting, they wanted to wait. I reminded them back in August, we all agreed that the property owners be notified of the historic area. And they would let every property owner know, as well as all the realtors in the Richmond area. I reminded them that Mayor Blythe sat right behind me. Did we need him to come and verify what was said? The committee seems to have amnesia on the subject. Then I made another motion to let the property owners know. It was seconded by Colleen Spencer, and it was put to a vote with 3 voting for it and 1 voting against it, their own committee. I'd like to also bring up the R3 to R1. Now, this goes back almost 3 years ago. I went from house to house asking people we were worried we were not in the historic area. You could build a 3-story, 4-story building next door. We were worried about zoning, that type of thing. We had 11 signatures, 12 including myself. So when I brought up R3 to R1, I was told that notices were given more than once by Codes, and I believe our city lawyer will attest to that. That's what they told him. So I went to a few properties, not everyone, to see what was happening. As you can see, 3 of those property owners said no, they never received a notice. And 2 of them said they looked for a notice and never received one. So maybe they were. Now, there was one that did receive a notice, but it was late in 2022. And I did talk to another person, and they decided not to do it because they had a guest cottage, and they wanted to make sure if something happened, they could rent it. So so we have a problem here, and I want the commission to know we need to change some things, and fast. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons. And just a note, as he mentioned, his wife passed away recently. I did express to him on behalf of our city our condolences and also our appreciation for his service on the Architectural Review Board. Thank you, my friend. Yes.
Good evening. My name is Keely Chatfield, and I am here this evening on behalf of over 200 residents of Hillcrest and Miller's Landing subdivision, and some of them, if you'd stand, are here with me tonight. For residents of Hillcrest, thank you guys, my support. For residents of Hillcrest who have developed, lived in, and loved this at their home for over 50 years, we have concerns this evening about 116 Miller Drive in Hillcrest, which is in Richmond city limits and was recently sold to Cox Properties. We are concerned about the potential use of this property as a drug treatment facility, a sober living facility, or a Suboxone clinic, and we have these following questions. Is the intent, if you all can answer to the best of your ability, is the intent of the property on 116 Miller Drive to be a Suboxone clinic? Do you guys know that? Any information?
I'm sorry.
And let me say this. Please understand what I'm saying. The public comments period.
Okay. So just expressing, no questions.
Question and answer.
Okay.
Just please state your concern.
I will keep on rolling. Okay, perfect.
Keep rolling.
Is the intent of the property at 116 Miller Drive to be a drug treatment facility? Is the intent of the property to be a sober living facility? We are unclear of what it is to be. Does the plan of 116 Miller Drive require rezoning or codes and planning for approval? The property values are also among our concerns, as well as excess traffic in the neighborhood, the safety of our children at bus stops and playing outside, and the contents of our homes, sheds, and cars. Our elderly, who are more vulnerable and often looked at as easy targets, are fearful. None of us are naive to the probability of the increase in crime that comes with establishments centered around sober living facilities and their residents. How close will these facilities be monitored? Does establishing a facility like this also bring an increased police presence? There are 4 schools within a mile walking distance of 116 Miller Drive, including 2 elementary schools, 1 middle school, and 1 high school. Are there no limitations on how close a sober living drug treatment center or I can't say that word, the Suboxone clinic can be in relation to our schools? Is this even being taken into consideration? No one would purchase almost $1 million worth of property without some sense of assurance that they're going to be successful in their mission. Please hear us. In closing, it isn't about the structures, but the safety and comfort of raising children and growing old here. Not one of us here doubts or denies the need for aiding those in our community with addiction, but can't deny or need to protect our homes and families. We are being invaded and infringed upon in the very places we should feel the most comfortable. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
My name's George Childs, and I was just coming to talk about the zone ordinance on 2306. I evidently didn't listen to the lady that spoke about the 699 places that are going to be available, plus the 118 you have down the street. And before that meeting, you also turned the person on Goggins Lane down, which is fine because that's in Madison County. The problem is, that's a lot of people that are going to be using Goggins Lane also, and Tate's Creek. I really feel that it's going to put a stress on the traffic, water pressure, electrical grid, the schools, the fire department, the police. I just wish you all had a little bit more discussion about it. So, and enjoy the minority.
Anyone else? Who wants to yield?
I don't really have notes, but my name is Michelle Hawkins, and I've been a resident of Tate's Creek Estates for 36 years, and I'm very concerned about the ordinance 2306 on Tate's Creek, as the man spoke about as well. I am concerned that there are apartments, if it is like Kingland Drive, which is ran down, and after 3 years, we see people come in many times that do not care for the homes. It creates traffic congestion. I think there should be some expectations for landlords if they're going to have those apartments. And when you're putting 2 new subdivisions on Tate's Creek, then you're going to put a new city park, and then on Goggins, there's going to be new. We have to consider, what about the community that's been here for years and paid taxes? I mean, do we consider those people's feelings about this? And I did not realize there was an earlier reading in December, or I would have been here to represent my subdivision, because I am part of the homeowners, and we've talked about this, and we're very concerned. And so I appreciate the other subdivision that's going in, they took the apartments out. So I don't see why that couldn't be the case for this one as well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Here it's there.
After the year that I thought it was my duty to come talk to these 2 new ladies from the commission. You don't know who I am?
Don't I get one?
You know all about it. You know all about it.
okay.
Already on.
You can read on theirs. You've been around the whole year.
You just passed it out to the women.
Yeah, you know what it is. Emerson McAfee. I'm with the Kentucky Veterans Hall of Fame, speaking on their behalf. I just wanted to update the ladies a little bit more than probably what they've talked and heard from you folks. This memorial, we're hoping, will go in July, August, September, maybe, just depending on the weather probably, but I'm hoping it'll get in that time frame, and we can get it dedicated with everybody involved. The city has paid their amount, and I went to the fiscal court this morning. Their amount is coming in a check real quick, I hope, maybe before I go to Owensboro on Monday. The second one in the state will be dedicated down there at Owensboro. They moved quicker than everybody else, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. It's going to be 2 foot taller than what you see in this picture, so that stuff will be spread out more than it is on here. Looks a lot better. I've seen a picture of the one down there. Again, I'm just so anxious to see this thing. The one in Richmond will be paid for as soon as the judge gives me the check. As far as Berea, I don't have the money yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to get it next month. I have a Zoom call with the Kentucky Department of Veterans Affairs in Frankfort, and I think they'll give me the $5,000. That's only a quarter of the total cost for the 2 monuments. We've done 3/4 of it, so I see no reason why they shouldn't help us. And as quick as I get that, we'll be moving towards Berea with a meeting down there, pick the spot where they actually want it. I got my favorite spot there. As you pull in front of Southern High School, it's curved right there on the right, where people, as they drive in, they can read it because it'll be so big that they can read it from their car. I didn't notify the people here. They probably don't understand why this has been delayed, because we thought we had it all set up. Richmond 25%, Berea 25%, fiscal court 25%, and I hit the community for another 25% in donations. But Berea backed out on us. They don't want to spend the $5,000 out of that mega millions that they've got. And so I went to KDVA. I think they'll do it, and we'll have it going. And both of them, I think, will be installed before the end of this year. I'll be crying if they're not. And I can answer any questions that ladies have here about what we've done.
Have you seen the plans for the park where we're putting the monument?
Yes. In fact, I'm going to get a hold of Rob and get another copy of those 7 pictures he sent me.
Yes.
I took them to Laurel County with me, and I lost them down there. I've been to Laurel County, Lincoln County, and Pulaski County, talking to all 3 of the cities. They've all got parks. The one in Somerset is being constructed right now, and they would have had it dedicated, but they can't get their tank. They've got a big tank they're going to put in their park down there, and they're waiting on that to come in before they do their dedication. So it's 2 here and more down the road on I-75 if we can get them on board. Any other questions? All right, I'm having a good time with this. Like I said, I'm looking forward to being at one of the dedications next Monday. And
Thank you for keeping us
yes,
surprised.
I wanted to make sure these ladies knew. I was at the fiscal court for the 3 new people there, so they would know what we're doing. Thanks again for your support of it,
Yes, indeed.
and we'll all be happy when we see it standing down here.
Thank you, Mr. McAfee.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Thanks to all of you. Any departments to report tonight? Madam Clerk? All right. Mr. Attorney, will you be giving the city manager's report, or will it be your report?
Oh, no, sir.
That's my name, don't wear it out. Okay. Let me just mention that, with as much as should be said, but Rob is under the weather and not able to be with us tonight, so we want to keep him in our thoughts. Commissioner Newby?
Just one little thing, we're like a caution to the folks, and I spoke with Mr. Farthing earlier about we have a stop sign issue. There's one that's missing, and he said his man's already on it, so we're good to go. But I just want to warn the folks in due time, and it is where it's a 4-way stop with signs. The intersection in between the Shell on the bypass and where Ace Hardware and the China Buffet. It's a 4-way stop.
It's gone, yeah.
And it's busy, 24/7. 2 a.m. it's busy. So just, if anybody's out there, just be a little extra cautious out there until his man can get that sign up, because it's busy little area. But that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Goebel?
I have nothing.
All right. Commissioner Cole?
Mayor, I just want to thank each person that came out tonight. It makes my heart happy to see people that care about their community, that care about Richmond, and that will come, and participate in the city commission meeting. And those watching online, I can't forget that as well. We do read the information that you share with us. We do listen when you come and share input with us. So I just want to thank each person that cares about Richmond, and thank you for doing so, and it is well noted. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Cole. Commissioner Brewer?
Just one thing, Mayor. In the past, we had a police officer, Eddie Good. Eddie served the city for a long time, retired, and then went to Madison County Sheriff's Office. But very few people know that in the beginning, he started out as an EMT with Madison County EMS and a volunteer fireman. He passed away here, and his funeral was yesterday. I don't do this very often with bringing people's name up and stuff, especially in this atmosphere that this is. But he was a dedicated servant to Richmond and Madison County. I even learned a lot with him, from him. I'm older than him, I'll just say that, but I learned a lot from him in police work that he did and the caring that he showed the community. I'm saddened that happened, and I was kind of heartbroken because he loved his church, his family, and he loved this community. So keep him and his family in your prayers. He was such a good gentleman. And that's all, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Many of us who were able to know him and to work with him know that he did a tremendous job for the city of Richmond. Let me just mention this, in the absence of the city manager. I had a chance today to spend some time with the folks from Rumpke Waste and Recycling. who will assume responsibility for our trash pickup, residential and commercial. The commercial beginning first of next month. There will be a significant announcement, publication of how that'll take place. Also with the residential pickup, that'll begin later, but I believe early 2024. But just to get the information so that there can be a smooth transition, and there will be, I was very encouraged by their folks today, with the grandson of the founding Rumpke, who was here today with us, and his cousin. But we really hope that this will help to alleviate some of the concerns we've had over the past few years, in fact, and they promised a level of customer service that will make us be proud that we did choose them. So we'll see how that works starting the first. Commercial will start the first of next month. I'd like to have a motion, please, that we would go out of regular session into executive session according to KRS 61.810, subsection 1, sub F regarding personnel, KRS 61.810, subsection 1, sub B regarding acquisition or sale of property.
So moved.
Commissioner Cole,
Second.
Commissioner Newby. Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Goble?
Yes.
Commissioner Newby?
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer?
Yes.
Mayor Blythe?
Yes, thank you. Now, we will exit to go into the conference room for the executive session. No one is required to stay prior to our adjournment. We've handled all of the business that would be handled for the general public until we come back in. Thank you so much again for being part of tonight's meeting.
than I thought this evening would. I figured we'd be here till 8. I knew Gossels was coming, and I figured some of stuff to be here. I figured we'd be here till 8:30. I did that. I figured 7:20. I wasn't seeing that. That's okay. I'll be asleep up here if I stay in much longer.
I think we've got 2 songs and a poem left on the agenda. Who's doing the first song?
I'll do it.
Yes, indeed. Let's see. Yeah. I got the number here. It's underneath. All right. May we have a motion, please, that we will come out of executive session back in a regular session, having taken no action.
So moved.
Commissioner Cole,
Second.
Commissioner Newby. Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Goble, Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer. Yes. Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you. Now may I have a motion, please, that we will amend the agenda to include Order 23-25.
I move.
Commissioner Newby,
Second.
Commissioner Goble. Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer. Yes. Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Goble,
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Attorney, may we have a reading, please, of Order 23-25?
Yes, Mayor. An order of the City of Richmond between Madison County Fiscal Court and the transfer of the ownership and operation of Battlefield Park. Whereas the County of Madison County, Kentucky desires to transfer to the City of Richmond for the use of City of Richmond Parks and Recreation Department and Visit Richmond Tourism Commission the ownership and operation of Battlefield Park, which is comprised of certain parcels of real property currently owned by the county, including 101 General Nelson Drive, 103 General Nelson Drive, 101 Battlefield Memorial Highway, 1546 Battlefield Memorial Highway, and 79 Crooksville Road. And whereas KRS 67.0802 authorizes the transfer of real property to another governmental agency, and whereas Richmond intends to take over ownership and operation of Battlefield Park as evidenced by the adoption of the identical resolutions with each entity, and whereas it is the desire of the county and of Richmond to enter a memorandum of understanding setting forth the respective rights and obligations of each governmental agency in connection with the transfer of ownership and operation of Battlefield Park, hereto attached as Exhibit A. Now, therefore, be it ordered that the Board of Commissioners for the City of Richmond, Kentucky does hereby approve to enter into the proposed memorandum of understanding with Richmond and authorizes the mayor to execute the same on behalf of the city. This order shall be in full force and effect upon reading and adoption by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, sir. That's Order 23-25. Let me just ask, before I ask for a motion, and do they have access to that memorandum?
Yes, it was in
Memorandum
their
of
packet. The
understanding.
actual document was in there,
All
yeah.
right, thank you.
Yep.
May we have a motion, please, then? We'll bring Order 23-25 to the floor for discussion and approval.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Cole, Commissioner Goble. Discussion.
Well, it's been a long time getting here, hasn't it?
Yes, yes.
Over a year.
Though he's not with us tonight again, I do want to thank the city manager and all the others who have been involved in negotiation and clarification over these past many months to bring us to the place where we can bring the Battle of Richmond site into ownership of the city of Richmond, marketed by tourism and so on, our parks, and to also bring with that an employee, should we decide to do so at some point, who would have a great deal of knowledge about that. So we're excited. We're excited. We're excited. Wendy? Yay.
Yay.
Have you voted?
Not yet.
Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Goble,
Yes.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you. Any further business, Madam Clerk?
No, Newby said he wanted to stay later tonight, so,
Okay.
you know.
Commissioner Newby wants to stay later? Okay.
I'll be getting
Let's see, I think-
up in about 3
I
hours.
think the two chiefs are going to do a duet, and then we'll have a poem, Tammy reading the poem, and Josh, and you're going to give us the...
Y'all can do that without me. I think I'll backtrack on that one.
Thank you all so much for tonight's meeting. And, the matters which have been brought before us are certainly for the well-being of our community, and with respect to all and their opinions, and then we make what we feel is the right decision to move us forward. All hearts and minds clear? Madam Clerk, please call, or maybe a motion, please, to adjourn.
I move.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Goble? Yes. Commissioner Newby?
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yay.
Yay.
Thank you all.
Oh.
Still, it's not, even with that, it's not as long as previous two.